race fans, welcome to my little show about motorsports and stuff. I like to call In the Pits with me, StockCar Scott, here on the YouTube during the racing season when I feel like it. Since I went out to the races this past weekend and the best NASCAR racing of the season comes up this next weekend, I figured it was a good time to check in with all y'all race fans. I felt discretion was the better part of valor and did not challenge the Snoqualmie Pass weekend before last to get over to Wenatchee Valley Super Oval for what I learned later was an action-packed evening with pro late models topping the schedule of racing with there in the mid-Washington State quarter-mile banked asphalt track. Chad Holliday won the 100-lapper. That was the feature, and they also had 4 other divisions there on the evening schedule. And I was able to watch a little bit of it there because of live streaming by folks like Kenny Burns and Thomas Benscooter Sr. and others. Now, I don't do any live streaming. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how. Not yet. And I appreciate when folks can do that, and I can see a race I would otherwise not be able to follow at all. But I understand some tracks frown upon folks live streaming. Well, I can also see their side of wanting to put butts in the seats instead of their product being just beamed out there for a few folks to watch for free. They'd rather those folks be there at the racetrack. Like I said before, I don't do it. I don't live stream, but I don't think a live streaming ban is going to be the answer. Plus, most of the time, any type of media is usually a good thing for your track. So I hope that promoters consider all of the ramifications before they go and just ban all live streaming altogether. After all, I didn't go to a local track here for several years because of a video camera ban that they had that was finally lifted after it became unenforceable with people with phones and everything. Everybody takes video. Well, as you can see on my YouTube channel, StockCar Scott, I captured a bunch of video of action on the first night of racing at South Sound Speedway, where Saturday night they raced super late models for 100 laps. Hobby Stocks ran for a 30-lap main, Legends for a 35-lap main, and the Foreign Stock Car Racing Association's Super 4 late models ran for 25 laps of action, along with dashes, trophy dashes, and heat races. Of course, I got down to South Sound Speedway a little early because the weekend construction that I was anticipating, the traffic being messed up there in Detroit, was really not as bad as I had planned for in either direction. Racing was over at 10, so I was able, with the good traffic, to be back here at Race Central before midnight. But because I was able to get down to the track there in a more timely manner, I actually had time to stop and mess around a little bit. Stopped at the Lacey Walmart and scored a really nice die cast. Plus, once I got down to the track, I was able to sit down and enjoy a nice chicken strip basket and a Mountain Dew from the track concession stand there before racing kicked off with trophy dashes and everything, so that worked out nice. Also had time to do a little visiting like I like to do, and I must say it was great to see and hear the voice of South Sound Speedway, Mr. Kelly Hale, back at the track. He had a rough off-season, folks, but he is looking and sounding as great as ever. The dashes were first after the opening ceremonies with Scott Bodine in the Super 4 late models, Devin West in the Legends, and Chris Brannon and also known as Mr. Happy, in the hobby stocks, all taking home trophies. Then, after some prodding, 3 late models came out of the pits, and Tristan Hyder picked up a little more plastic for his home shelf there in the final dash of the evening. The 3 support races ran their heats without any major problems before moving into the mains for the 4 different series running that evening. First up was the 53-year-old Foreign Stock Car Racing Association Super 4 late model 25 lap main, won by John Grosvenor in a comeback of sorts. And he won in his orange Chevrolet Impala. Next, Devin West put on one of his regular Lexar Home Legends clinics, winning their 35 lap main. Then the hobby stock division ran their 30 lap main with Zach Florick victorious in the next to the last race of the evening. That left the super late models with 100 laps to run. It was a small field, but not everyone planning to run was able to get a car prepared in time for opening night, like Robert Somerhalter and Tommy Elstone, who were both there to watch as they waited for things to come together for them so they can race there hopefully next time. The super late model race started with Riley Watson and Stephen Blankenship up front, but in the mid-pack was Glenn Knutson, who was moving up quickly in his number 51. That was crewed by 2 of the Northwest racing legends, Mike Easley and that 4-time elite champion guy from Wenatchee. It didn't take long for Knutson to wheel his race car to the lead and spend the rest of the race fending off challenges from the field during restarts, from which there were a few, as you will see in the highlights I'll have up here, or if you watch the 100 whole 100 laps on my YouTube channel, also called StockCar Scott. In the big wreck, the number 75 and the number 47 tangled in turn 2 about 29 laps into the race. Smitty Smith in the number 75 told me later he was having problems getting that baby to turn, which, as it turns out, turned into a big problem for Stephen Blankenship in the number 47 in turn 2, as the 75 and the 47 turned into each other. Both ended up being able to get back out to finish the race, and Blankenship was able to even turn in a 5th place finish. Other drivers had their problems with cars spinning or scraping the wall during really hard racing, but all in all, it was a good race, especially for Glenn Knutson, as he went on to win at the 3/8 mile track. Okay, so here's some highlights from the night, so y'all can see a little bit of it for yourself. Cue highlights.
As they come out to their field, Chipper trying to get to the inside to listen to the line track. There's this winner. Terrific trailer and truck accessory super late models. Side by side. And sitting right there trying to go alongside with the
Okay, we're back. We're back. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the highlights. In other Northwest local late model racing, Randy Marshall Jr. won the first Lilac Cup 100 at Spokane Raceway Park, picking up where he left off last season. In my old favorite series, the West Coast Late Model Series, Max Schroeder had one of his best finishes ever with a 5th place run. Way to go, Max. Also last weekend in the Inland Northwest, late models ran at State Line Stadium Speedway in Post Falls, Idaho, but results were a little hard to come by. I saw on Facebook, thank you Sherry, that Braden Havens won their feature. Meanwhile, at Hermiston Raceway, Bart Hector Jr. was victorious over another small late model field that included Ben the Roof God Briggs. Facebook friends Scott Burby and Max Cook both raced last weekend in the Hornet division at Hermiston and both finished in the top 5. But I also understand that there was a brand new little race fan in the stands there to lend her support for Bart Hector Jr. There with Selena Toombs. And that little race fan seemed to really be enjoying the sights and sounds of the evening. And then she slept all the way back home, just like a good little race fan. That's what we need more of, is new race fans. Oh, and one last thing on local racing, or any race you happen to go to. Don't do stupid stuff. Okay? Somebody, and yes, I am being purposely vague, somebody got ejected from Southbound Speedway on Saturday night, and I have it on good authority that what they were doing was pretty stupid. Now, racetracks around here, all over the country, they're just trying to put on some wholesome family entertainment for everybody, and some tracks do include adult beverages for those that care to imbibe. But ask yourself before doing something stupid, especially when the equation includes adult beverages, if there is a chance of something stupid happening, then either stay home or maybe omit something from the equation and the chances of stupid stuff happening decrease. Y'all know I want everyone to go to their local racetracks, but not if you're gonna get all stupid. You can stay home and do that. And speaking of stupid, you might recall my feelings on the Formula One coverage on ESPN2 several weeks ago for Australia. Yeah, it was horrible. Well, that has done a complete 180, and now I consider ESPN coverage very smart because they got the message. And now they have some of the best coverage after that first Grand Prix debacle. And they've decided now to just forego all commercial breaks during the race. Thank you very much, Mother's Car Polishes. I'll be going out to get me some soon, because they're the ones that are paying for it. But this is only during the live broadcast. ESPN still edits in lots of commercial breaks during the rebroadcast, so watch or record the live version. You will thank yourself later. In the last 2 Grand Prix at Bahrain and China, Sebastian Vettel picked up another win for Ferrari, and Mr. Smiley, Daniel Ricciardo, one for Red Bull, and had another chance to do his signature shoey. And if you don't know what that is, he drinks champagne from his racing boot. Ugh. The next Grand Prix is at Azerbaijan on Sunday morning here, well before the fun begins at Talladega. And that brings us to the best NASCAR racing of the spring with the Xfinity Series and the Monster Energy Cup Series at Talladega Superspeedway this coming Saturday and Sunday, along with the ARCA Series race run on Friday afternoon. 3 o'clock out here on the west. To be honest, I'm already ready for racing at my favorite track in my home state of Alabama. But there's also Northwest Super Late Model Racing Saturday night at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. And the weather looks good for both locations, so I should be able to leave for Wenatchee right after the checkered flag waves there at Talladega on the Xfinity Series. Yes, it will be cutting it kind of close there time-wise, but that is what we do as race fans. Oh, get me a drink here. Of course, I have not talked a great deal about what's going on in NASCAR Monster Cup racing here lately, and regular viewers understand why. I do not like that toad that won the last 3 races. I really don't care that he has been on an image improvement tour of late. He will always be a toad. So far, that's 4 wins for the Fords and 4 wins for the Devil Cars, to only 1 Chevy win by Austin Dillon at Daytona. So I am hoping he can win at Talladega Superspeedway there on Sunday, or maybe fellow Alabamian Bubba Wallace can pull off his first Cup win while driving that number 43 STP Chevrolet Camaro, as a few other drivers have done over the years, getting their first win at the 2.66 mile high bank tri-oval built almost 50 years ago there in me and Bubba's home state. Oh, and next season the Camaro will have more familiar competition there in NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Racing, because Ford will be introducing a racing version of the Mustang. Now that sounds nice and all, but what I want to happen because of this Mustang and Cup thing, and I know this is going back, but I hope what they do is give Bobby Allison credit for his 1971 win at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in a then Grand National 250 lap race. The year before R.J. Reynolds Tobacco shortened the season. In that race, Allison was a field filler. In order to make the field bigger, they put him in a sportsman class Mustang. But he won the race over Richard Petty in a Grand National car. And if you ask Bobby Allison today, he will tell you he has 85 Cup wins, even though NASCAR officially credits Allison with only 84, tying him with Jaws, Darrell Waltrip, for 4th on the all-time wins list behind Gordon, Pearson, and Petty. So I hope NASCAR finds it in their hearts to finally count the Alabama Gang's founder's 85th win during his lifetime, because Bobby ain't getting any younger. Well, I guess that is my rant for this episode, though it's kind of tame. But my attention is on my home state this week, instead of this dreadful cesspool in which I live, Detroit, Washington. So next time, I'm sure I will have an urban failing to expound upon, especially if traffic foils my visit to the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval over this next weekend. If you're at Wenatchee this weekend, stop and say howdy. I'll be the guy in the dated Dale Jr. apparel with the little camera on a stick capturing video, because that's what I do. And I hope to see you there. Until then, or the next time I feel like doing another video, get out to the racetrack. Weather is improving everywhere, so you don't have that as an excuse. But do dress appropriately. The nights around here are still a little chilly. I'll be out there somewhere getting the racing action on my little camera, and you'll be able to see it there on my channel on YouTube called StockCar Scott. And then I might even make another episode of In the Pits with me, StockCar Scott, when I feel like it. Have a good day. Get out to your local track, because all races matter.